September 14th, 1941. The week that many people in the Stavka feared has now arrived, as the Germans launch Operation Typhoon. Unlike all previous offensives though, this one does not seem to go according to the Axis plans, or at least this is the impression that the Soviet High Command has. While it is undeniable that the Germans secured and sealed two major encirclements, one around Vyazma in the north and the other one around Sumy in the south, for some unknown reasons the Germans failed to close the pocket between Bryansk and Orel. The commander of the Bryansk Front does not waste time and he rushes his men outside of the closing pincers. It is maybe an excess of optimism, but I think that Moscow could have been saved the very same week the Germans launched the offensive to capture it. Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a new weekly episode of War in the East 2, the online game challenge. And yes, this week begins officially Operation Typhoon, just 2 weeks ahead compared to the historical timeline. So I would say we are pretty in a good shape here. But there is one big difference. Even though this week the Germans secured at least two medium-sized encirclements, there is one encirclement that somehow they failed to complete, to close, to seal. And you know what? I'm so happy to see this. And I was so happy that I even removed the enemy-controlled hexes view, because when I saw this, I was like, oh my god, look at this. Like, between Bryansk and Orel, there is like this gigantic funnel that somehow the Germans failed to close. And while around Vyazma and even south around Sumy, I was not expecting that. The Germans closed two encirclements. Here, not. Here they utterly, miserably failed. And I'm curious to see, let's say, my opponent, if he will comment on this, but you know, I'm really curious to see what went wrong on the German side, because literally, like, for 3 hexes, three here and 3 here, the pocket is open. And what is even worse for my opponent is that I retain control of the Bryansk-Orel railway, which means that I could, in theory, railroad not all, but many of these troops outside of the encirclement. But we can talk about this in a few seconds. Besides that, I would say Operation Typhoon also looks a bit scary in the area of Kolm here, because now he is really pushing hard towards the Pola River and Demyansk, and I want to prevent him from doing so. He also took Rozhev, and he's advancing at full speed towards Torzhok and Kalinin. So I need to solve this breakthrough over here, which will mean abandoning all these area and all these juicy level 2, level 1, level 2 fortifications all over this area here. I will do my best to trade as little land as possible to just liberate as many troops as possible, because this is really hard to advance and to fight in terrain. So if I can delay him here as much as possible, then I could just liberate some more troops. For the Torzhok and Kalinin fronts. But yeah, besides that, I would say it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Concerning losses, I've lost only less than 200,000 men this week, and for a net loss of 142,000 men on the map, 2,300 guns, 863 AFVs, and 1,184 planes. I got, however, almost 180,000 men as replacements, and 32,000 tons of equipment. And the Axis also lost almost 4,000 men on the map, and yeah, 207 AFVs. That's a lot. These are some big losses, I must say. And then we have Soviet Partisans and Operation Typhoon, and of course, yeah, makes sense. More interestingly, okay, okay, almost 300,000, and I got 2.7 million men lost in total, and total order of battle, we have, okay, it's going down, as I predicted last week, that my order of battle in terms of men on the map is going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, and I guess next week it will go even more down. While manpower pool, yeah, okay, it looks okay. I mean, nothing too bad, I would say, so far. And what else? The weather, interestingly, so next week it could start raining. I don't expect the Rasputitsa to arrive already in early or late September, but still, I like that it's starting to rain, and hopefully this will chill and cool down the Germans. And what else? The strategy, at least for this episode, is to consolidate the front line. I mean, luckily I do have like a mass of maneuver over here that I will be happy to shift around this area of the front. The idea now is to relocate the 49th Army around between Torzhok and Kalinin, the 30th Army between Torzhok and, let's say, Molody Tud, and maybe we'll evacuate Olenino, I don't know. And then, yeah, and pull back the 20th and the 22nd armies over here, and as well as pull back the 11th and the 48th armies, yes. And then I will assign these troops to the 19th army over here, and I do have also the 52nd, yes, and a few others, I think, the 29th and the 24th. I will try to evacuate as many troops as possible, but not all of them, because I want to leave at least 3 infantry divisions, or maybe even a few more, to hold out into Bryansk and in these 2 heavy wooded tiles. I want to really slow down the German advance for as much as I possibly can. And then southwards, but maybe I will talk about this in the next episode, I will try to reopen the Sumy corridor, let's say, because if these are the positions of the enemy troops, I must say my opponent did a big mistake, because here, like, this unit exerts a zone of control here, and this one exerts a zone of control over here. So there is this, and this, and this, and this, and this axis that can be potentially, let's say, converted again back to Soviet control. But I would say that's all for this brief introduction. In the next episode I will also talk about the Soviet reserves, because what I forgot to show last week is that I added for the first time 1 rifle division in training, and because, yeah, just to compensate for the loss of the 107th mechanized division. And yeah, that's it. But more about this in the next episode. And yeah, so that's it. That's all for this brief introduction, folks. And now, as always, it's time to dive straight and deep into this episode. Alright, folks, so if last week I was kind of, let's say, feeling down, demoralized, depressed, powerless, and without will to do anything, this week, the failure of, I wouldn't say the failure of Operation Typhoon, but actually the failure to close the Bryansk-Orel pocket was, I think, the most important morale boost element that I really needed to cheer myself up, because now these, like, those 3 hexes are, like, for me the glimmer of hope that I can maybe survive winter without a too thin Red Army. And a small spoiler alert, if you want to go already to that point in which I will evacuate the Bryansk kind of salient, you can go, I think, to minute 18 and 15 seconds, I think, something like that. And so, yeah, I want you to comment a little bit on that, because I do not understand. Okay, I can understand why my opponent failed to close this pocket, and for me the only reason is that he didn't have enough troops, neither from the north nor from the south, to properly link up together and seal the pocket. But of course, as I don't know if my opponent is watching these games, please, my friend, if you're watching, I kind of kindly invite you to comment and share with us the reasons of why this operation failed. Because I'm personally very eager to know what went wrong from let's say on the other side of the hill. And also, if I can comment from my side, from my perspective, one big mistake that my opponent made, I would say this turn, was the lack of severing of interrupting the railway between Kirov and Bryansk. Or I would say between Bryansk and the southern section of the front. Because from based on what I've seen, especially in the early turns around Smolensk, even if there is one Axis unit adjacent, or I would say if there is an enemy unit adjacent to one hex containing an intact railway, you cannot. I think you still can, right? Railroad troops. Maybe you cannot unload them into that hex, but I think you can still railroad them or move them via railways. Yes, and I didn't understand why he did not cut these railways, because moving troops by railways, like while I was, let's say, learning War in the East 2, I was always, marching and pushing my men forward on foot. But when I discovered when I discovered this, let's say the potential of carrying your men along the railways, and I even made a tutorial called "Improve Your Quality of Life." I really my life in War and East 2 changed completely, and this was literally the I would call it the railroad of life. The one between Kirov and Bryansk and Orel, because having this railway section intact, I'd say, I don't want to exaggerate, but I think it really made the difference between surrendering almost one entire front, the Bryansk front, and losing only a tiny fraction of that front. Because, as you will see, I will leave some men behind to sacrifice themselves for the greater good, which is, of course, the survival of the Soviet Union and of the Red Army in general. And so I would say that's already it for today's episode. I must say I'm feeling much better today for obvious reasons. And well, folks, as always, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I wish you all the best. And well, I'll see you all again, not next week, but in the next episode.
Затих над курганом светит над Волгою луна. Шепчет волна неустанно павших бойцов имена. Дрожала от огня и от свинца, дым черной тучей застилал весь белый свет. Здесь каждый знал, где на земли за Волгой нет, и каждый клятву дал сражаться до конца, и каждый клятву дал сражаться до конца. Нет, не забудется суровая пора, от Волги начат был победный наш разбег. От вражьей крови потемнел январский снег, и гимном жизни стала русская ура, и гимном жизни стала русская ура! Озаренные уходят вдаль года. Выстояв, мы победили смерть.
Дивизия вперед, чтобы с бою взять Приморье, верной армии.